Hi everybody, welcome to Beyond the Lines. My name is Sarah, I'm the artist behind Pinselgeschichten, and today I'm going to work on a new color. It's time for a couple of monochrome painting slash drawing slash coloring videos. Today I'm working with Indian ink and yellow in this particular book. I'm going to color this page here. And I'm gonna use Indian ink markers, and you can see how that comes along and why I chose certain colors, and I hope you enjoy. So here we go. I have put out all the Tombos and the Faber-Castells that I do have, which is Indian ink. Some water soluble, some not so much. So these are all the tones. The Tombos are very light in these two, so that would be kind of like these two. The third yellow, this one here, would be like that marker pretty much. It's the closest, so it's this, and this tone. The 62 and the 90 are very, very similar. Which means, do I have a name here? I think I don't. No, it doesn't say with the names, but they're very subtle. This yellow here is very bright. So is this one pretty much. So I can show you just to test them. See, pretty bright. And these two are, I think, closest to each other. Yep. So I just need one or the other there. I don't need both. Because today, see, so today I'm just working with one style, meaning I'm not gonna liquefy colors. I'm just using the Tombos the same way as I would the Faber-Castell. Now, or am I gonna liquefy? No, actually not. That's not what I want to show you with liquefying. Do I? No, I might for the background here, but I might just leave it white. So I don't actually need the Tombos. I could just work with the Indian ink here and just work with one sort of pen. I wouldn't need to have both. However, I keep the option open that I would liquefy stuff later, but for now I'm not planning on it, and I'm gonna color this page here and talk you through why I do what. Now those flowers here are all the same flowers, so what I want to do first is have the shading on the midsection, so the flower buds pretty much. And for that, I'm pulling the darkest, almost, yeah, that's the right one. That's called dark chrome yellow. And I'm working with dark cadmium yellow as well, which is almost like it almost goes into a mustardy feel for the markers. It doesn't, funny enough, on other Faber-Castell products that have the same name and same number. So they're just a bit more juicy and a bit darker here in this particular medium. But it's very, very subtle nonetheless, the difference between, say, the colored pencil and the marker version of those. So I'm just gonna give those flower buds a solid layer here. Not planning on having anything fancy done. This is again one of those monochrome paintings or colorings. So I would rather work with the shapes in this case. So the flower buds here, or the inner parts of the blossoms, I think they're darkest in this case. They could also be lightest, but they should be different than the petals themselves for them to be in contrast pretty much. I don't know, I think this is another bud here. The books that I'm working with are not the greatest always when it comes to how things are printed. Sometimes they're a bit off, but that is fine. Just want to show you what you can do with yellows with just, well, one tone, but a couple of shades. If you have markers that do not blend, ooh, like the Copics. I did not mean to have a dark yellow spot there, but well, what to do. And what I want to show you is that you can have just one color, a couple of shades of those that are different enough so that you can achieve separation between things, items on your drawing or coloring. So now that I have all the dark centers in, I can go for the excuse me, for the petals. Now I'm taking one flower and I'm going to work the same way for pretty much every petal on that flower. First, I have a baseline of the lightest color in this case, and then I'm gonna lightly shade it with a bit of a darker tone, very, very light. Now this marker is almost dry, so when it is too dry to color with it very juicily, I'm going to switch to the Tombows instead of getting up and getting the second marker that I have of that color. So I'm keeping the options open, like I said, to change between the Faber-Castells and the Tombows. And by using them dry, you can really just mix and match between the colors, whatever color you have in one set or supply and you don't have in the other, and you're not planning on liquefying color. You could just use the both of them. They really work well together, and play with the colors there. You could also play with liquefying the Tombows and then putting the Faber-Castells on top as a dry marker, and then only using it for details. There's lots of ways that you can work with Indian markers and them looking nice on your drawing or coloring page, depending on what you're working on. Now yellow is a very happy color, very bright color, and I'm not having a lot of mustard colors here. So in other media, for example, the Neo colors or the Inktan's, I have way more mustardy colors or saffron colors that I don't have in this particular medium here. But that is fine. I don't have to have every shade in every medium. Usually, I just do combine the two media. that I would need. Now I have to be careful a bit. So this is a petal from this flower. I don't want to shade them the wrong way. They're not from the same flower, so I have to make sure that I only color the petals that are from this particular flower. Yeah, but usually if I were just to color for myself or draw or paint for myself, I would just mix the media that I need and not necessarily care if they're all the same brand. So I would gladly mix Inktense with Neo colors or the watercolor pencils or even the markers here. I don't care. I could also add some colored pencils like the polychromos or even the cheapies, the cheap watercolors. The cheap pencils that I have. I have a couple of shades of yellow there that I could then put on top and work with. So that is what I would usually do if I were not just going one medium, one color and showing you what you could achieve. If you only have these materials at home. So that is the other petal. So I would normally have a bit more variety in color from the different materials that I do like to put together. Now I'm going to add one more layer of the dark just to make it pop a bit more. And so add a little bit of the yellow just to make it pop. And now I'm going to color the flower next to it. Now I have used these two now to color this one. Now I'm going to go for light and the cat yellow, which is cadmium yellow, which is just different enough for these two flowers to be set apart from each other. For the coloring page or the drawing, whatever you are doing, where you're applying that principle, just to have it different enough to be set apart, but still monochrome there and feel cohesive and harmonic there. It's not 100 colors all over the place. That again wouldn't mean monochromatic. But even if you were just to go with a very limited palette and not necessarily just one color, you could apply the same principle. Take one color and shade it with, say, take color A for the base tone, shade it with color B on one object, and on another object that is close to it or overlapping it, shade it with color C. So you have things look similar and look familiar, but still you have a bit of a difference there, so that it doesn't all look exactly the same, you know? Just going around the flower like I did before. Identifying the petals that do belong to this flower, which isn't always the easiest part. And then coloring them in one by one by one by one. I could also just color all the petals with this tone tone here and say, yeah, I'm just gonna shade them in one go, but with 2 different markers. But I find it a bit easier to shade the correct petals for the correct flower if I go around that flower and do all of the petals in one go, rather than layering the colors like I would maybe with other media, or if I were to use multiple colors and not just one. No. But it could be that, especially with these overlaying petals here, I would accidentally color a petal the wrong way, like shading it the wrong way, and then I, yeah, wouldn't necessarily like that. It wouldn't be the end of the world, don't get me wrong, but it just makes it easier to stay with the correct colors and the correct shading if I go around the flower bud like I do and just see where the petals get off the flower bud. Talking, folks, talking. This is the the 4th video I record today. I should actually be able to talk by now, but it doesn't seem so. So flower number 2 is done. I'm going to intensify the color around the bud here, just to have a heavier contrast. And then I'm going to take a sip of coffee. There we go. Let's go to, there's 2 flowers here. These are maybe a bit more difficult to, or maybe not. Hold on. Yeah, I know what to do. The one on top, this one here, I'm gonna shade just like this one. And the one underneath will have a very different coloring, not necessarily the light yellow as a base coat, but I gotta do things one at a time. So on the upper left hand side here, there's 2 big flowers, and it looks kind of crowded. It's actually 3 flowers. It looks kind of crowded. So what to do when you're coloring monochrome or painting, drawing monochrome, and you want to have overlaying items, petals? Well, for one, again, going around the flower one at a time. And then I'm going to have the lower flower be way darker than this one here that I'm currently coloring. And that sets the one flower apart from the other. So that would be the upper flower. Again, I'm going to intensify the dark tones here on that flower bud. Now I have to color the lower one, and for that I'm taking the same cat yellow and give it a solid layer. Just to identify all of the petals that do belong to that flower. Not miss any spots. And it isn't very many, you see. So now I'm just going to go over them again, parts of them at least, and intensify the ink. Doing the same with the flower bud here. And even a third time, going over the parts that I would have used a secondary color on. And that pushes the flower enough to the ground there. Now I'm using the yellow for the base coat that I have also used in the flower buds, and I'm going to color the next flower. They do not all need to have the same base coat, you know. Again, even having this on the upper level, they don't all need to have the super light base coat. They could have a darker one too, and then have it shaded. You just have to find the rhythm for how to separate these petals and where you want to have them be the same color and where not. They should not all look very wild. Again, it's way easier if you use maybe two colors, but it's a very good training exercise to try and get depth or difference done in your drawing or coloring when you just use one color. Now there's one flower underneath, and I am going to use this tone here to color those petals. Also do the same up top here, where there's another flower, and I'm going to shade them the same heavy duty cat yellow. But since it is another color combination, again, it sets that apart from the flower directly on top, which once the ink is dry, I'm gonna give another layer of orange too. And meanwhile, I'm just going to work on those petals here that are from another flower, but are mostly off screen or off frame, out of frame, not on the paper, you know, folks, not on the paper. So I only know where to shade them so much, you know. Same here. And the same for that flower where there are no, where there's no flower bud there. And then the ink on the other side should be dry enough to shade once more with orange, or it's actually a dark yellow. It's not an orange. I'm not cheating, I'm still in the yellows. Shading with cat. And it's very, very subtle. Again, if with other colorings I'm going to show you, especially with the watercolors and the colored pencils, in those videos I'm going to show you how you can really change things up. If you have maybe a bit of a saffron or a mustard tone. So see, I'm going to shade them once more, which intensifies the color and makes for a nice contrast. Just have to be careful if you want to still color on the other side, which I'm not sure if I want to in this case here, but I don't want it to bleed through right away. So, whoopsie. Now I need actually, I need an orange on this side too, or a dark yellow. Why am I always saying orange? It's not orange, it's dark yellow. I need it on this side too, just to counterbalance these two flowers here. So I'm having one where I'm just using the same yellow. I might have to get up and get another pen because this one is running dry as well. Well, I'm having those pens for like 3 years now or something, and I've been using them quite a bit. So they have done their job. And there was a reason that I bought a second set, because there's certain markers that I use more than others, and they started running dry. So I bought a new set just because it's cheaper in the long run than buying those markers individually. So there has to be a flower underneath these two flowers. So I'm going to color that one in the light tone just to set it aside or apart as much as I can from these other two, though I don't know where those leaves are going. This print is not the greatest, but yeah, what can you do? And this one is on top. Alright, so let's shade the one on top first with one tone of yellow. That would be this flower. Ooh, not cleanly, okay. The other one underneath with this color, the cat yellow. Just a line here and there. And these other two here, again with more of the dark yellow. And you could give that flower a second, third, fourth layer of the same color, and it would intensify that and make it for a really nice shadow. So adding color to the flower bud. And then being a bit more subtle with shading here. And for the rest of the flowers, I'm going more like I did here, so not so much orange, but light yellows to shade the petals of the remaining flowers. And I think I'm not gonna color the background. I actually like the white. I think it would be a bit too much if I would now color the background yellow. Would I maybe use more than one color and maybe have a blue to work with or a green? I would definitely put that on the background, but not with a monochrome page here. It would be too much. I would lose the definition of the pattern and the colors there. So on this page here, I'm having a bright, friendly, happy kind of a coloring, but yellows could also be differently used if they're more towards orange or brown. If they're maybe not as bright as they are here, but yeah, that is maybe something that I would show you in another coloring, where I would maybe go a bit more towards the mustard and the gosh, what's it called? The saffron. And I think that would be either the watercolors. I think the watercolors or the polychromos, one or the other, would be perfect to show you how you could get maybe not the summer sunny bright coloring like I do here, but the more natural slash vintage kind of coloring. Vintage looking, I should say. So let's put this flower underneath here with different yellow. Again, just to set things apart from each other and make sure that the difference is visible. I'm not gonna shade that one. Or am I? Yeah, I am. Of course I am. I'm always shading. Would would look weird, probably, if there would be the one unshaded flower. So let's shade that sucker quickly. Being very loose, I don't have to be even in the lines all the time. I need one on top here, just to be quite heavy with the contrast. I'm taking the cat yellow. And now underneath, I'm gonna take these two tones to color the remaining petals. Just don't care if these are one flower or two. It's not really visible. I think it's two flowers underneath, but I don't know. Doesn't really, yeah, it's not really saying. Okay. And shading, and then I'm pretty much already done. I'm gonna intensify shadow on the orangey yellow, dark yellow flower petals once more, just to enhance contrast. But then I think I'm pretty much done. And that is how you could rather easily have a monochrome coloring for maybe a greeting card or a comic, like cartoon, or just a sketch or whatever, for Indian ink markers. So I'm gonna work very similarly with the Copics next week, but that is because I'm not having a lot of colors with Copics. And I don't want to take black into it, so I'm maybe a bit more cartoony next week, but I don't want to get ahead of myself. First, let me check how it needs maybe a bit more shading here, just to make it smooth. There you go. And that would be a very sunny, bright, summery kind of a border for something. This is how I would work with the Indian inks, in this case Faber-Castell. Again, you could do pretty much the same thing with the Tombows depending on what you have, and you could have even more of a painterly look if you decided to liquefy the Tombows. But I don't want to do that every time that I work with them, so if you want to know how to liquefy and what that looks like, or how these two in combination look, these two kind of markers, I'm gonna have a video pop up in the iCards for the orange Indian ink video, where I worked with the two again and liquefied one of them. Now, I hope this very short demonstration of how I like to work with the yellows and what I like to do when it comes to Indian ink and just have very bright colors, how I like to do that. I hope that helped. I hope you got some inspiration or maybe a new idea or something that triggered with you for this color, or just working maybe with yellow in a different way. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them in the comment section below. I will see you next week with Copic markers and yellow. And then we're changing things up a bit. I'm getting away from the cartoony look more to the real natural look of yellow, what you could achieve there. But next week I'm going very cartoony and show you how you can, with very few colors, get not the bright only, but the cartoony look going. So I hope you enjoy. Tune in next Thursday. The exact numbers of those markers and close-up photos are on my blog, so hop on over in case you're interested. And I'm going to see you. Thank you very much for watching. Bye bye.